Let's get into it. Episode 100. We'll think of a fun title afterwards. But dude, the biggest thing, we'll do everything around the Super Bowl. But the Super Bowl halftime show, I really think, stole the weekend. So your thoughts? We were gonna talk about this. We talked about it last time. But your thoughts on the actual performance, the display, everything. Like, what were your thoughts on those? I think like 18 minutes.
Yeah, I thought the performance was amazing. Literally exactly what I expected. Didn't expect any more or less. Well, I didn't expect 50 Cent.
Dude, neither did I. And like, I don't know to cut you off, but like, it's wild how like all my boys expect that to happen. I was like, I guess it makes sense. Like,
in retrospect.
In retrospect, right? They're part of like Shady Records. But like, you would have thought they would have announced it. Like, I didn't, for some reason, because there's so many people they announced, like those 5 people. I'm like, bro, there's no time for cameos. Like, when the fuck is that? Like, that threw me off. But they're like, dude, I literally have a text from a boy like from a week ago saying, I guarantee you 50 comes out. And I'm like, why? You know what I mean? Like, so that, to go back to what you're saying. But yeah, I thought that was like, for me, the best part of the show.
Yeah, same. I think that was the highlight because I wasn't expecting it. Maybe it has to do with the element of surprise came from the fact that like it was like an LA themed kind of lineup, even though Mary J and Eminem aren't from LA. At least I don't think Mary J is. She's from New York, right? Or something.
Yeah, she's from New York.
But yeah, that was the highlight for me. I thought like the choreography and just overall setup was super dope. I think the only thing that was weird for me is it just made me feel really old because like, of course, there's the memes about 50 looking out of shape. Like, I think Dr. Dre even looked like he had a beer belly going on of some sort. Snoop's got gray hair.
I think Dr. Dre is jacked, so I don't think he has a beer belly. But there's also that meme where like anyone over 30, when you're that jacked his jeans were very tight.
Yeah.
So like it was very hard for him to like move it. Yeah.
But I feel like when you like, I knew 50 Cent when he gets older, like all that muscle is going to turn into straight just like chunk.
Yeah.
And I think that's the problem is he's always been a pretty chunky dude, but I feel like when you get older, I'm no nutritionist or fitness expert, but I feel like if you're that bulky of a person, like Sylvester Stallone type, like you just look like just a big piece of meat, like walking around.
And you have to stay in that shape. Like you have to like be in the gym. Like he's, I mean, I don't know his fucking regimen, but I can take a guess he's not in the gym 5 times a week.
Right. And also what's interesting is I think this is the first time where like he's the one getting teased and bullied by like everybody. Like he's always been the bully.
He's running with it, bro. He's been posting,
but he has no choice.
Bro, troll me. Like I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. Because if he came across salty, it would just make him look like a spoiled brat.
Yeah. It would make people think about the 50 Cent, like when he was getting weird with like Jada Kiss and like Rich Bros. Bro, come on, bro. It's a joke. Like, calm down.
Right.
Like, so I'm glad he is playing it off like a good sport. So, what was your favorite performance though out of like the 6?
My favorite performance, I mean, I'd say probably the Still Dre.
Okay.
When that came on, I think that one got me the most hype. But everything was pretty dope overall. I don't think there was any one standout song where I was like, oh my God, like this is the one. I think it was just like one long, continuous, good performance for me when I was watching it.
Yeah, so I agree with that. So for me though, like even though the 50 Cent moment stole the show for me, because again, dude, you're not gonna find a bigger G Unit fan. Like if I could do G Unit trivia night, I'd be the richest guy in the world because I ain't getting shit wrong. But the only reason why that didn't make it like the moment for me is because his mic was not all the way up. Like I don't know if you realize that, like he was like rapping his ass off, and you could barely kind of hear it. So. That's what fucked it up for me. For me, dude, honestly, Kendrick was that performance was sick.
Oh shit, I almost forgot about Kendrick.
Yeah, dude, with the Dre Day boxes and then everyone came. That whole setup was wild, though. So I think when he did Be All Right, I texted you immediately, like, I told you, bro, I had it, buddy.
Yeah, that's like the perfect event for a song like that.
The perfect event, dude. And we haven't seen him in since COVID, like thinking about like this pod, like we really, besides a couple features on Baby Keem shit, like we haven't heard anything. So I think that was a dope moment. What did you think about the whole Eminem kneeling and like out of respect to Colin Kaepernick?
Honestly, when he did that, I didn't even think anything of it. I was like, first of all, I was like, that shit seemed like so far in the past. It wasn't even top of mind. And then two, I'm like, I thought it was just one of those, you know, how like boy bands at the end of their performance, like kneel and do the little superhero pose and shit. That's what I thought it was. Like he was just doing like a cool pose at the end. And then I saw all the headlines. I'm like, oh, like I wasn't overthinking this shit. Like,
yeah, I do same. I did not in the moment think anything of it. I was just like, I thought this is the end of your song, and you're waiting for the camera to move off you to someone else before you stood up. Like that's what I thought, dude. So yeah. But dude, overall, I thought Mary J. Blige was great. Like for her, I was like, what songs are you gonna fucking play? Like I don't know how this time, but dude, the songs she picks were fire, and then, dude, I guess a lot of people it's going viral because like Jay-Z was rapping his ass off to Still Dre, and then people are learning now that he wrote that entire song. So
oh wow, they just realized
they're just that's just like a thing now. So yeah, dude, I thought it was a dope moment. Honestly, the game itself was trash to me. Like it was just like it wasn't very.
The game was whatever.
Yeah, but at least again, I was relatively sober the entire time, so I was more in for the commercials. But yeah, the halftime show was great. But yeah, it's funny how like when we were growing up and we would see like the Rolling Stones, we're like, yo, why the fuck are these old people on it? And now we're like, yo, and they're like, oh fuck, we're the old people. Like
right. You know what went through my head, like especially when the performers are like people who maybe the baby boomers aren't really too familiar with or whatever. The whole time, especially in this climate, I was thinking to myself, what are like the ultra conservative like white people who are watching all this shit, what's going through their head right now? Are they like so confused trying to process this, like everything from the crib walking to like in the club, like if they've even heard that before and are wondering why everyone's going so crazy? I'm just very curious what was going through their head as they watched this performance.
Wait, you watched it at home though, so you weren't even around like older family members.
No, right? I was at a bar.
Okay.
And it wasn't filled with that too many people. Most of them were a bit older, but they're kind of just like staring. They weren't like cheering or looking at it and discuss it. They just kind of seemed like they were observing something they just don't really understand, but it's part of the show.
Got it. Yeah, because I watched it at my boy's house, but we were all like same millennial age. Yeah, that would be a great question to ask. Like, I think my dad's gonna call me later, so I have a follow up question for him. But yeah, it was great. It was great, man. It was very enjoyable. It's gonna be a tough one to follow up because again, I think like for this you need good performers, but also phenomenal nostalgia, right? Like, there's a reason all the songs they picked we knew. You know, like there's like Eminem could have played a lot of shit, but he's like, yeah, I'm gonna play 8 Mile. And like everyone is gonna lose their lose yourself, right? Everyone's gonna lose their mind, no pun intended, over this shit. So like that's why I think it's gonna be hard to follow. So yeah, dude. But shout out to the NFL, shout out to them. But it's fun, like, dude, like even like Snoop, like you were saying about the boomer stuff, like yeah, it must be weird at times, but bro, like we think dude, Snoop's in every fucking commercial.
Yeah,
like
Snoop
is
TV, like the white
all the time.
Yeah, no, like the white housewife or whatever category you want to box that stereotypical boomer in, like everyone knows Snoop. I think we were talking about that. Like he is literally the most famous rapper. You could not know a single rap song, but you know Snoop.
Right, and he just came out with a rap album, and I couldn't tell you, you know, any song on it, and it's just like, but America knows Snoop Dogg, bro. Like, you just, dude, at some point you have to give credit for just longevity in itself. Like the fact that he's been around for 30 plus years is insane, bro. And the fact, you know, shout out to him, he just bought Death Row Records like a couple of days before the Super Bowl. Like that's a monumental moment, right? And I think he signed to Def Jam, so I'm sure they'll do a cool way to like make that like a long-lasting, you know, relationship. So again, it's a good time in America to be Snoop Dogg right now, because I feel like anything he does, it ends up being a pretty positive thing, bro. Like dude, he's in every single Corona Light commercial. Like you cannot not see him on TV like at least once a day.
Yeah, it's very impressive. And it's also interesting how these different rappers with different images are able to kind of either be shielded from certain controversy or be thrown into it. It's like if you're known for having a cookie cutter image, let's say, and you say some wild shit or do some wild shit, you're immediately seen as a bad guy. Whereas if you're like a Snoop and you say some wild shit, because he definitely does do that from time to time, a lot, always on Instagram. But like people kind of just expect it, like, oh, he's the Crip dude who smokes weed, so like that's just regular Snoop. But if like Jack Harlow or some shit said half the stuff he said, like people will be on that person's ass. So I always find that interesting because he's managed to get to the tip top, like get white America's acceptance and everything, but at the same time he's also like does some pretty wild shit or says some pretty wild shit. So I just think that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, dude, but it's also like corny phrase, but I think it's also true. Like I feel like he also plays the game very well, right? I feel like when he's in those corporate American environments, he never goes across what the line is they already put for him, right? Like I think even when he did like the Olympics with Kevin Hart, they're like, bro, do whatever you say, but like, please don't say these things. And I think he won't, but like, he'll still say other funny shit. So yeah, I think there's some acts. So like, there's again, kind of like the whole like Rogan thing, bro. It's like, we'll let you do certain things as long as you're doing it by our rules on our platform. Whereas I think not to make it controversial, but like the Rogan thing is scary for a lot of like these people because like you have no control. He says whatever the fuck he wants, and we can't stop him if he does get out of hand. Like I feel like again, if someone wanted, like if Corona didn't fuck with Snoop, they're pulling his commercials, and that's the end of that, right? Whereas like with Rogan, like you pull him off Spotify, he'll pop up somewhere else. Like you know what I mean? So that's the I think the funny thing with this is like they're again, like to your point, dude, think about how many, like the NFL Super Bowl show is the most corporate thing in the world, bro. Mm-hmm. And the fact that like they had people like dude, Snoop been accused of murder, I think so has Dre, dude, Eminem threatening to kill his mother, 50 Cent's been shot fucking 9 times, like bro, and they're like, yeah, you perform, like you know what I mean, like it's just crazy, dude.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of corporate events or anything corporate, it all boils down to like what the public sentiment towards that person is. Like if tomorrow everyone says they love R. Kelly and he gets out of jail and it's gonna make them $100 million to have him on the stage, they're gonna do it. They're gonna be like, what 15-year-old girl, what are you talking about?
100, it's again, and that the sad thing is why when we were doing all those documentaries on him being R. Kelly, like bro, that all that shit was like very well known amongst people in this like industry, but it wasn't a big deal to the rest of the world, so they didn't have any reason to like speak up, right? So yeah, it's very interesting how this shit works, like what the corporate world and what the public allow at times. So yeah, dude, shout out to all of them. Again, great look for everyone. And for me, again, I think 50 Cent stole the show, and I'm glad that he's leaning into all the jokes. It's like, you can't get mad, bro. It's just like,
right.
You look weird, but it was dope.
You
bro.
Lose if you get mad.
Yeah,
it was dope.
It's like, bro,
they were funny.
Like, bro, it really was like for me personally, I didn't think he looked fat. He's like you said, he's always been stocky. But bro, I think unless you have like 2% body fat, which he did when he first filmed in the club, bro, anyone upside down is gonna look a little weird, dog. You know what I mean? Like,
that is true. I know. I was like, why the fuck would he even agree to that shit? Because I'm pretty sure in the music video, they just they flipped the camera around or something. Like, I don't think his ass was literally upside down. He looked like he couldn't breathe.
Yeah, at that point, he was 27 years old. Now he's like a fucking 48-year-old man. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah. But when I saw him, I was also like, shit, I don't know if I want to like get too buff either. If I'm gonna, when I get older, like just lose that definition. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, bro. I feel like he does enough. My thing is like, I remember seeing like really old videos of 50 before he popped. He was also a fat kid that like got in shape. And then I think does enough to never cross that line of like, all right, I'm fat again, kind of a thing. You know what I mean? Like, because when I watch him on Power, like he looks like just like a fucking jack.